Welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about Mr. Dong and the news that has come out today that he had the power in 2021 to let the two Michaels go, but it wasn't beneficial for the Liberals and it would make the Conservatives look good. So let's get into one possible reason why they didn't want to do that and how it would benefit the Conservatives at that time. Let's get into it. Now let's take a step back. At that time in 2021, that was when the 44th election was in Canada in September. So at that time, we're going to hear the leader at that time, which was Erin O'Toole, in December 20th, 2021. We're talking 10 months before the election, how he's asking the Liberals to help get the Michaels out of China. And then we're going to hear Ms. Freeland talking about it, which is actually hurts to hear, but hurts to hear her saying how they're trying so hard to get them out. And if it's the case that the Liberals deliberately didn't want them out because it wasn't beneficial for them, this makes it even 10 times worse. But then again, everything's 10 times worse with the Liberals. So let's have a listen.
I agree with the Deputy Prime Minister. All Canadians are worried. Mr. Speaker, months after Canadian citizens were taken hostage by the communist regime in China, we learned that the Liberals fought hard to keep a close relationship with China. In fact, the Deputy Prime Minister fought for Canada to train China's military on Canadian soil, against the direct advice of the Chief of Defence Staff. With our citizens in jail, our exports banned, and with China committing human rights abuses around the world, why did the Deputy Prime Minister push hard to partner with them?
Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, today marks 2 years since Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor were arbitrarily detained in China. These years have been stolen from Mr. Kovrig and Mr. Spavor, from their families and loved ones. I know that all Canadians admire the integrity and strength of character these two men have shown, and I would also like to pay tribute to their families. The release of these two brave Canadians is an absolute priority for our government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ouch, that hurts to hear. If it's true that when she's talking right then and there in December 2020 that they're trying their hardest and really what's going on is they don't want to do it because of the next elections in September, that they don't want to make Erin O'Toole look good. This hurts so hard to hear on how deep, and look at the acting ability here. Just look at it if you want. You can see it again, but wow. That is something else. If this is true, this looks horrible. Horrible. Just add it on the list. Another horrible thing. Everything's just about image and nothing is about Canada. And let's have her continue. Thanks.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Deputy Prime Minister. All Canadians are worried about the fate of Mr. Kovrig and Mr. Spavor. Those 2 years were stolen. So my question for the Deputy Prime Minister, while they were stealing the lives of our citizens, why was she trying to push the Canadian Armed Forces to train the Chinese military on our soil when they're abusing our citizens, our rights, international law? Why was this government trying to partner with them?
Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I have long personal experience reporting on authoritarian communist regimes, and I am very aware of the threats they pose. When it comes to China, Canada is appalled by the treatment of the Uyghurs. We stand with the people of Hong Kong, especially the Canadian citizens there, and the release of Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig is an absolute priority for our government.
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the minister's actions never match those fine words. That's the problem with this government. The Liberals ignored security and scientific experts on the CanSino vaccine deal. They ignore our allies on Huawei. And now we learn they were ignoring the Chief of Defence Staff when it came to military exercises with China. Defense officials clearly said there was risks of knowledge transfer by working with China. Why does the Deputy Prime Minister think that she knows better than the military about how to maintain our military secrets?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to talk a little bit about CanSino and vaccines, because that's where the Leader of the Opposition began his questions. And let me just say, I understand why the Leader of the official opposition is worked up about vaccines. And that's because he and his party spent weeks trying to scare Canadians into believing we were at the back of the line. Instead, Canada has the most robust vaccine portfolio in the world. Vaccines arrive next week, and the Pfizer vaccine has been approved. The Leader of the official opposition would do better to confront the anti-vax.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
As the Canadian forces.
Well, Trudeau got the election. There was plenty of division 6 months before the election, and I still don't know where that special victim unit inquirer ever went to. I don't know if it'll ever come up. But anyway, Trudeau flew to Calgary, saved the day, got the two Michaels out, he got everything he wanted, and he did the walk of shame on the beach episode. So let me know in the comments what you think, and the best of goodbyes.
Canada-wide